Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Hope it's sunny where you are. It is where I am today. Jackie Bluhm here, and let's do some playing. Just waiting for the camera to catch up. And is that somebody I see? Thought I saw Linda. Hey, Linda, if you're out there, say hi. So this is the product of the month for this month. What is this month? April. Oy. My words are going to be hard today. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. So, product of the month for April. Not to say that you can't get it in May. Here's the kicker. You can only buy it once for as long as it's available. So if this was a January product and it was product of the month and it was still available and you had not purchased one and you have a qualifying purchase, then you could buy it. So you can buy it one time while it's available. Once it's gone, it's gone. It started in December, paper pack, stamp set, paper pack, and this month is a big old die. Really pretty, okay? So $75 in orders, and then you can buy this for $5. $5. And I will be playing with that today. I'm also playing with, and I still don't see myself. Come on, where am I? Hold on a second, guys. Let me just refresh. Because I do not see myself. But it says I'm live. But the numbers are not counting down. Somebody tell me if I'm live. Oh, you just gotta love technology, don't you? Okay, so let me refresh a little bit. There we go. There I am. I don't know why it takes it so much longer to find, but it does. So this is a 6x6 paper pack. Splendid Autumn. It is on last chance, and it's only $7.50 for 48 sheets of cardstock. So, I'm going to be using that. And then I'll go on from there when we get there. Oh, one tip about this. So here's tip number one. A lot of holes, right? Put it in upside down. So put your your cover plate that you usually use, the nice one. Then put this down with your paper and then your cutting one. Run it through. Then what I do is I put it on my little foam pad and I run the little weeder through it. It comes on your, I don't have one, but it comes on your pick a tool, and this just comes off. You just put the little brushy one on and just brush over it. That will take off a lot of those. Then when you go to pick it out, if you make it smaller, take your piercing tool, which is also on the pick a tool, and gently get it started all along the edge and then pull it off, because it will kind of pull off differently than just fall off like most of them, because there's all those holes and grooves and whatnot. Okay? All right. There we go for that. And if you need a number, let me know in the comments and I will go on with that. All right. So the first thing I wanted to show you, this is either called an eclipse or double vision. And it seems to be really popular out there. I had never done it that I know of. So I thought I'd share it with you. And a couple of things that I found along the way that people were doing. So this is a 6x6. I went and cut it down because I wanted most of this, not most of this, to 4.5 this way. And then I just cut it in half, 3 by 3. Okay? And I cut 2 of those. It normally takes 2 of the same, but I have another trick that somebody else told me, and we will change it up. So remember that there is another piece of this, so you want the matching one. And you'll understand in a minute. So this is the whole piece, but you want the matching one. Okay? So it's going to take you a sheet and a half, 2 sheets, and you can do two cards. Sorry. Brain freeze. And it's not from ice cream, darn it. Okay, so what we're going to do is this is going to be our base piece. And I'm going to pull in my trimmer. and we are going to cut 1/2 inch pieces. And let's see if I have any done. Nope, I used them all up. So sorry about this, but just 1/2 inch. So whatever your piece of paper is, you just need to make sure that it is, I mean, you can only go 6 inches long or wide by whatever increments of 1/2 inch you can get. Now, I'm very cautiously lining them up. Don't forget to do that, okay? So we're just 1/2 inch cutting. Oh, I don't know why the ring thing is so bright on there today. I'm always trying to figure out lighting. If anybody knows any tricks with a ring light, let me know. I also have overhead lights, and I also have sunshine today. Woohoo! Okay. We go from rain to sunshine in a blink of an eye. All right, so there we go. There we are. Put that aside for a minute. So then you put this down, okay? Glue one, raise one. So we would glue that one on, okay? And what another trick that I saw was to, so that one was glued. This one is raised, but we're just putting it here as a spacer. Then I would glue this one up and put it on. Spacer. Glue and space, glue and space. Glue and a spacer, okay? Then I would take the spacers and put them 1, 2, 3. These are already glued down, if you can imagine that. And I would put foam adhesive and put those on. If you just barely tack it down, you can move it, wiggle it around from time to time when you need to, okay? The other thing I've seen people do is they'll put down dimensionals on here, and then they'll put just a drop of glue and leave that piece that we usually peel off, put a drop of glue, then you've got more wiggle room time. But I found if you just lay it down gently, then you have a little bit of wiggle time, okay? So that is how they traditionally do this technique. But there is another way. And I'm going to show you one. So here's one that's been done, and you can see, hopefully, that there is the same underneath, right? And you can see how much foam I used, about 4 pieces on each one. And that's kind of what it looks like. Hopefully you can see that it's raised up. Oh, I'm just watching the camera to see. And then you just put it on your card and go from there however you want to decorate it. Words, no words, another background piece, another plain piece, whatever you want to do. What I did was I pulled out Cajun Craze and a piece of Balmy Blue, which is in the paper pack. And I pulled out a little punch, Happy Birthday, and some twine that's retired, but y'all have it, so pull it out and use it. Okay, I'll hold this up so you can see it. I have several samples to show you today, and then we'll build one because I have another idea I want to try. Okay? And I felt the paper was busy enough that you really didn't need any more bling on it. And there is some of this Cajun Craze right in here, so that kind of makes it pop with the blue. There's card number 1. There's just a sample-y piece. Okay, so then you're like, well, where's the one with the die? It's coming. So I did the same thing again. This one, I would match it up. I wouldn't do the trick I'm going to show you in a minute because you've got all those holes. And this one, you can see that the foam tape in there is just a string. It's a line of foam tape instead of my dimensionals, but these are a little too thick. I don't like how thick it is. here's another, here's another tip. If you look down here, you'll see through the holes that you don't see any adhesive except for right there. So you have to strategically place your adhesive if you're going to do something with holes. And it looks better to have the color underneath be the same pattern. So again, you would need a couple of sheets to be able to do this, okay? So then I was thinking, well, what if I didn't want to cut the panels, but I just wanted to make a card with it? So I made this card, and I haven't put any words on it. But this is just an extra piece. So this is 3 by 4.5. This is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 on a standard A2 card. And I like how the white pops, but I don't think I would like it if it was cut. So you could just put that right over the top of there and put it on a white base. You could put it on that balmy blue, any of these colors, Mossy Meadow, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry. You get the idea. Fresh Freesia. So there's card number 2. And just some tips that I found along the way. All right, so back to this. This is kind of a unique punch. It is the Happy Labels. It's from the yearly. It was $30. It's on last chance for $18. You can do 3 different sizes and 2 different punches on the ends, okay? So the sizes are a 1/2 inch. I'll try and hold these up. 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch. And there's the little, that's one end of it, okay? The other end is a little more bumpies, okay? So you might say, well, how did you get that little piece in there? If you turn this up, take your measure, you can see there's where the point is and how much you need. And if you put it in there, it's about 2 inches, okay? So if you do a 2-inch piece, you can put this one piece in, cut it, it's at 2 inches, turn it around, put it in the other way. But if it's a little bit smaller, you can do this. We'll put this in, and this is a little bit of a different size, so just make sure that you go against one of these levels, so that way you keep everything the same on both sides. We're going to put it in. Oh, if we can get it back there, hold on. There we go. Get it all the way in. Punch it. Okay. And then, let's say this is a little bit shorter than what we need. Let's see if I can do. Not enough to hang on to, but that's the size we want. Put a sticky note right there. Then we can slide this in all the way to the front. And that one we might have been able to hang on to. And then we have a tag. So you can make it a 12-inch tag, any size you want, as long as you can get it in there and hold on to it. You could use tweezers too. You don't have to use that. And what I love about these is they go flatter to store. All right, enough about that. And if you want the number, let me know. I'll put it right there and you can grab it. Any comments or questions, just leave them down below. Okay, the words that I used, these will be back the week of May 4th and sometimes sooner. So that's another tip I wanted to give you. If you go online right now and you put this number in, 167044, it will pull it up, but it will say unavailable. Then over on the right, it will say notify me. If you click on that notify me, it will send you an email when it comes in, because a lot of times it might come in a little bit earlier than that. It might come in next week. So then you'll know that it is back in stock and you can grab it before it's gone. Because sometimes, you know, it's getting down to the end of the catalog, and if they've ordered it, they're not going to reorder it again unless it's going to be in the next catalog. Okay, and I'm not for sure if this one is or not. I think it is. But anyway, so do that. Hit the notify me now. You may have to say that you want to receive literature, or you want to receive marketing. Marketing, that's what it is. That is just so that way they can send you the email and say it's back in stock. Okay? And you can always click off of that after you get this. All right. The other thing that I'm using is something new, sneak peek. Floral Spray 3D embossing folder. Isn't this huge for one and beautiful? This is a 6 by 8.5. Great big one. Okay, so the other thing that I used, that one I'll tell you about in a minute, is this one. And this one is discontinued. This was the Mix-Ins paper from January through April. But this was the balmy blue color, so that's why I used this. I have a few sheets, so open house, I may have some of those available for sale. All right, next. So what I did, I'm gonna give you the pieces, is I got 2 pieces. Again, they're gonna be the same size as this piece that I've been using, 3 by 4.5. This is my 3 by 4.5. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you? Maybe. Yes. So what I did was I opened this up and I put it upside down. And there's a line right there. This means it's up. So if you put your paper in, this is going to be the raised up, or the positive. If you turn it over and put it in this way, you're going to get the negative. So depending on which look you want. But all I cared about is I wanted that line. And so and that's not the right one. I think it's this one. No, that was the right one. Okay, let's figure out how I did this so I can show you. Not that side, this side. Here we go. Something like this. Trying to line it back up. So I put these in. You know what? These are 2 different pieces. Okay, I messed up. Oh no, they're the same piece. Duh. All right. The card I already made went here, and this piece went right next to it. So here we go. And it just lines up in there. So I put 2 pieces in, and then I put 2 more pieces. And the reason why I used that line is so that way I would know where I needed to put the next 2, so I would get 2 that are the same piece, okay? Because we want the same piece. We don't want it to be mishmashed. Okay. So we got those embossed. So we have our 2 matching pieces, okay? Now on my card, I also took a white piece. And I'm not showing you the other way of doing it, which is this one right here. What I did was I just put it onto, hopefully you can see that. I just put it onto a white piece of cardstock. So that way I didn't have to double up the pattern. I just put it on white. And I could have put it on this balmy blue, would have looked pretty. So just make sure they can't see too much of it. All right. But this one I had another idea because I saw another lady do this. She embossed. She didn't do this technique, but she took this and she just ran white over the top of it. And I thought it looked so pretty. But what I want to do, and so I made a card with it. So I've got my 3 by 4.5, my 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then a 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're just building our layers, right? Like so. Then this one, I took the white ink and I just ran it over the top. Then I cut it out. But, and here's the card. But this was not the effect I was going for. So you can see the difference between the brushed white over it and the non. But what I wanted was this pieces under here that you can see a little bit of, I wanted those a little bit darker, and I wanted only the tops that were raised to be the white. So that's what we're gonna do now. So we are gonna pull in our trimmer, bring these back in a minute. We've got these pieces, and, boy, too much. Okay. And we are going to, again, we are going to make sure that we cut these at 1/2 inch and we stack them so we know what order they go in, okay? So give me just a second to cut those. As I say in class, if I have to do something, talk amongst yourselves, say hi, say if you've done this technique before, put in a comment. If you have some question to ask, while I'm doing all this cutting, that gives you time. All right, 1 inch. And 1/2 inch. All right, so now what we're going to do, get this out of the way, and I'm going to bring this in because we'll need this piece. So this one's going to go down, this one's going to go up, this one's going to go down, this one's going to go up, down, up. Okay, so these are my ups, those are my downs, and I'm not doing those yet. I'm going to bring in my silicone sheet for gluing and all that kind of stuff. Actually, not yet. I'm going to pull in my extra paper. I'm going to keep these 3 straight. I'm going to try and sandwich them together, see if that will work. Okay, bring in my white ink pad. When you buy the white ink pad, you get the re-inker. What I suggest is that you ink it up going over across. You can take the back of a spoon to smooth it out. And then it kind of, I guess it dries out a little bit. It is pigment ink, but it dries out a little bit. So just know that you may have to use that re-inker again. And I'm just gonna lightly, as I not lightly, go over and put some white on there, okay? So that's that. And then, get that off my fingers. We're gonna set that aside. We're gonna pull these 3 in, set those there. Let's pull these 3 in, and hopefully that white does not do anything. Let's just make sure, because that's pigment ink, so it's going to stay a little bit longer than I want. And I'm going to pull in my Balmy glue, and my Balmy glue. I thought that I would just make these just a smidge darker. So I wanted to see that difference a little bit stronger of a contrast, if you will. Sorry, it's like watching paint dry. But it is getting color on, so I'm going to turn these around. Do it again. Now we're mixing everything up, aren't we? Okay, I think that'll do. Let's see. Make sure you turn them the right way again. Yes. I think that'll do what I want it to do. See how it's just giving you a little bit more of a contrast in there? I think that'll work nicely. Okay. And I don't know if I should put some on the back or not. I think if I had more time, I would put a little bit around the back. But just for kicks and grins, let's pull this in. So these, so now we're going to do on and off. So I just line them up like so. This is the one I'm gluing. Now this has it raised, so you want to make sure that your adhesive goes all the way along that edge, okay? So then we're just going to, sorry if my head gets in the way, we're just going to put that on there. We're going to set that one in there. We're going to glue up this one. And you're going to have to hold that while you glue this one. And then I can pull this one back off. Put that one on for the holding one. Just holding the spot. This is our glue. Double. Make sure you got that nice and even before you put this one on. Like so. All right, so these are going to be our dimensional ones. And I am going to put, I already used most of my, this is a good one to use with the little around the edges ones, pieces, because you can just cut it and glue down a lot of area. So that way it's nice and good. And then somebody else said that this little flat edge, if you put that in there, it just fits, so yay. So we're going to do that on there. Oops, turn that one over. That would have not been good. And then we're going to need a couple more for there. At the end, because you want it to be good and stuck. If you want to put more on than what I'm doing, go for it. It's just a card, so not so much. All right, there we go. And now we know that this one is the first one. Yep. So we're going to take those off. And this is where I said if you just lay it in between, kind of hold on to it. There we go. That's number one. Here comes number two. So this is kind of my own creation, if you will, of adding the white ink and the Balmy Blue matching ink. And I just think it kind of makes that white pop a little bit more. Not that the white wasn't pretty by itself, but I was just thinking that it would have been a little bit different than this one. So let's put it onto here. Again, let's get rid of all of those. And they're sticking to it, of course, because I'm on air, right? Okay. So this one, because there's so much bumpies, I think I'm just gonna glue it down. And I always kind of make sure you get it in all those little grids if you can. Okay, you can make little hearts on the back whenever you want to do. I've seen people do designs. There we go. That should work. Just our liquid glue. Now you have to know where to hold it. And I think I'm going to do it like this. Again, sorry if my head gets in the way. I like to take this edge and that edge. And I know it's about a quarter of a difference, a quarter of an inch all the way around. But because it's glue, I can move it around a little bit till I get it where I want. And then put it down, okay? And I'm gonna go in between the raised ones and push those down. Okay. And then we would put it onto here. Again, corner, corner, corner. And actually this one I know is a little bit different because I went 4.5 instead of 5 1/4. So what I do is I put it up here and you can see that it's 2 squares and 2 squares, or just a little bit bigger. And then if I bring it straight down, I can just gauge the difference. Okay, all right. And then we would put it onto a white card. So hopefully you can see that difference, and I'll hold it up for you. So I kind of like that little bit of something else. Now, here again, I did that. Here's another tip for you. When you put your stamps onto your blocks, what I do is I line them up onto a line, and then this edge of my block, I also line up on a line, so then I know I'm really straight. But there's no reason why you can't use the other side of your block for a double word. Okay? All right, and what else was I going to show you? Oh, the bling. So, I don't know about you, but I end up with all of this retired bling. What I love about Stampin' Up! Is there was some Cajun craze, so I used that on here because I got Cajun craze here. And this is from the Christmas, but it matches, it's balmy blue. So I put it on there. I'm a sparkle kind of girl. And you could have put this is muted palette dots, but they are balmy blue as well. So you could have put them on there. Like I said, I'm a sparkle girl. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you all have a great weekend. And as I always do, which one was your favorite? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And I should have done something with that. Let's see. Do I have a little? I thought I had a little. Here we go. Oh, that one's empty. Anyway. Okay. Can't do that. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one will you give a try to? Hi, Tia. Thanks for watching. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next Friday. Bye-bye.